Hi everyone, I am Tara and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel, Spirit Mother, Teachings of Going Within. Today I'm going to talk about mental health and how it affects us as a whole, okay? And some might think like, well, okay, what do you mean? Like, how does mental health affect us as a whole? Well, for each individual, because when mental health affects you, it's actually not only affecting you, but it's affecting your family also, because they're going through it with you. Maybe not on the same way that you're going through it, but they're experiencing it in different ways through you. And sometimes our family members don't always understand. Okay. Darn. Okay. I'm gonna put this under here. Oh, okay. Never run away from anything. Never. Okay. So it's facing it head on. Okay. That's not what I chose though, but it just come across me, and it's true. Never run away from it. We gotta face it head on, because if you don't face it head on, it's just going to keep coming back at you. I'll get into that in a moment. So here's my trusty little cards. Oh, it's stuck. Okay. So okay. I'm thinking this is what it is. Okay. Not sure right now, but it must be because there's somebody who needs this message right now. Okay. It says man, but it works for a woman too. If a man or woman is a street sweeper, she should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. She should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, she lived a great street sweeper who did their job well. Okay, what I'm getting from that is it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you know that you done it well. Okay, so the mental health awareness I'm addressing today is the stressors, challenges, and disabilities, and explaining how it affects us as a whole. Okay. I myself, for, well, almost my whole life, I struggled with mental health, stressors, challenges, and even disabilities, because mental health can be so debilitating that we're unable to work. Okay. Um, from the time I was 17, I had been off and on antidepressants, and I was in counseling, therapy, what have you. I was in the hospitalized a few times for it. But it never seemed to get better. And I always seemed to continue down the same path and going into the same routines every time. And in 99, when I ended up there, it was because I used a Ouija board. Okay, I was looking for someone that I loved, and I wanted to communicate with them. Okay, so I decided to use a Ouija board. If you don't know what you're doing, I don't recommend you use it. So I ended up in the hospital. Okay, and they put me on medication that gave me many side effects. Okay, it dumbed me down, and I started getting eye reactions and was tired all the time. And I was going to work. I started a job, and on my job, I was going in a washroom, and I was sitting on the toilet. Like, I would sit on the toilet, not using it, but just sitting on the toilet, and I would doze off. So I was falling asleep at work. And maybe that's what pertained, because I was a cleaner at the time. And I ended up leaving my job because it was just too much. And because of my mental health issue, that they called it a mental health issue, but I know now what I was experiencing. My son was taken from me. So I was in the hospital in 99 for roughly a month. And in the whole time that I was there, I would say that I only got to talk to the psychiatrist or therapist roughly 4 times. I was on medication. I was experiencing, like, a lot of things were happening. That's when I wrote my life poem. And at that time, there was a gentleman in there, and he wasn't talking. He wasn't able to walk because his mental health was getting the better of him. So I wrote my poem and I posted it on a bulletin board there. I put it up on the bulletin board. And one night when I was a smoker, I was in the smoke room, and all of a sudden, the guy that was in the wheelchair not speaking, comes in with my poem written in his book. And he asked me to sign it for him. So my poem must have triggered something in him for him to snap out of it. It was like, boom. He had a realization. So I felt pretty good about that. But there were a lot of strange things happening in that month. And then we got me out of the hospital because I begged my mom and said, like, hey, I need to get out of here because this is not a mental health issue. This is more of a deep, deep spiritual thing that I was experiencing, and I needed to get out in order to get it sorted out. So I ended up convincing my mom to say, like, hey, things are going good. Like, I was going on drives with her, and I was, before the cars would even go by, I would tell my mom what color car was going to come next, and I wasn't seeing them. I was sitting in one of the rooms talking with one of the nurses, and all of a sudden, Rolly, I was sitting there, and I looked at the nurse and I said, someone's coming to the door. I was nowhere where I could hear them. And then all of a sudden the buzzer rang for them to get in. Excuse me 1 minute. There's where's my spray bottle? There's something going on because my cat's trying to attack me. Maybe it's because of what I'm talking about. Who knows? So I ended up getting out of the hospital. And when I got out of the hospital, things got really intense. I had a sibling, like, was afraid of me, afraid to come around me. I could feel things happening. I was taking and I was doing figure eights on the paper or on a placemat. And I was using the placemat as if it was a Ouija board. I was drawing kid-like pictures. And my voice was changing. I was told that at one point my eyes went completely white, and another time my eyes went completely black. I was experiencing things where I knew that something was coming, kind of trying to come in, because all of a sudden my arm would start going like that. I was it was like disrespectful, childlike at times. I'm going to get to my point. And at one point, a pastor, reverend, whatever she called herself, my parents, I asked her, like, can you come stay with her? Because we have to go do some things. And whatever was going on, it wasn't real fond of the church lady. And I was smoking, and I'd flick ashes everywhere, flicking them on the couch, everything like that. It was totally out of my normal. Okay, but I was understanding what was going on and kept saying, like, I gotta have an exorcism. I gotta have something done. So, Rolly, des que não todes que da Mariana, mica tutoy, eh? So I'm not in the past. I'm explaining something to help others understand that I understand a lot of what you're experiencing and what you're going through at this time. Okay? So I had someone tell me that someone's seen me floating in the air up off my bed. I could feel my body deteriorating and kind of like it was dying in a lot of aspects. And I kept telling my mom, like, hey, like, I need an exorcism. I need an exorcism. So we were going, like, I was looking at 100 Huntley Street and everything like that. And I knew something was wrong before I even went to the hospital in the first place, because I had called the pastor then and said, hey, I need somebody to come see me. And my parents and my sister and a couple other people, they were planning on going to Crystal Palace and they couldn't. So, well, my mom and dad took me to the hospital. And we're out in the waiting room, and I had to go out. Like, I had to get out because, like, I didn't know at the time, but I was feeling a lot of energy. Prior to going to the hospital, I was experiencing a lot of things where I was experiencing my name written in a cloud, and everybody's seeing faces in the clouds and different things in the clouds now. Phenomenons, right? Spiritual phenomenons, things you can't explain, but we're seeing it. So they took me to the hospital. This is like July, around July 7th of 99. And they took me in the back where I was waiting to see a psychiatrist. And I was laying there and I was agitated and I was ignorant. It was like I wasn't myself, but I was aware of everything that was happening. So I was in there, and this nurse come in, and she's checking me over and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, my head twisted towards her and looked right at her and said, "How's your effing dead baby?" And she just looked and paused, and she turned around and walked out, and she was never to be seen again. So they got me in the room with the psychiatrist. There was a clinical student there learning to be a psychiatrist. And my mom and dad was in there, and we were sitting there, and I looked at the psychiatrist. And I said, okay. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, before you say anything, I'm going to do something. And then afterwards, I want you to give me your medical opinion. She's like, okay. So I started reciting the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, thou art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. And as I was doing it, all of a sudden, my body started shaking, like convulsing. And it was convulsing so bad that I couldn't talk no more. So once I stopped talking and reciting the prayer, my body went right back to normal, like nothing happened. And I looked at the psychiatrist. I was like, okay, what's your medical opinion? Her and the student look at me, and she looks and she said, I know nothing about the spiritual stuff. And I looked at her and I said, I didn't ask for your spiritual opinion. I asked for your medical opinion. She looked at me and she said, I can't give you one. So this is what we're dealing with regards to mental health, our stressors, our challenges, our disabilities, the debilitating aspect of it. Okay. And some may not agree with me, and some may think that I'm just a crazy wackadoo lunatic. But I'm here to tell you, no, I'm not. Was I doing this in 99? No. Because I was fighting for my soul. So they sent me home. And things were happening. I kept telling my mom, like, I need an exorcism because I could feel this, like, bad mojo. So we kept calling around. And then my mom decided to tell my dad and my sister and like a couple other people, go to Crystal Palace or go wherever you're going, Magic Mountain or what have you, wherever it was they were going at the time. So they went. Meanwhile, my mom and I, and my grandmother was helping. God rest her, like their bodies, because they're here in spirit. We are. And we finally contacted a church that would do it. They told my mom, bring her in. So a lot of people were afraid for me. Because when you're going through this, you are fighting for your soul. Okay? And my sister, that was afraid to come near me, wouldn't even come around. This night, before my mom took me, my sister showed up because she was really worried that there was a possibility that I may not make it through. So I was in the living room, and this entity that was trying to embody me dashed out at her from the living room. It scared her, but she stood her ground, and I was really proud of her because she was afraid. But her love for me kept her there. So my mom and I, we left, and she was taking me to the church, and I was very calm. I was like, calm. And from what I understand, there were many people that had prayer teams for me. Because this is what we're in. We're in a spiritual war. And that's why mental health has enhanced so significantly. And others are experiencing it, and it's kind of like we're attacking each other. Other energies are attacking. Okay. I may be glitching on YouTube here live because my energies. So my mom got me there, and they were practically dragging me in because this entity, being, energy, what have you, did not want to go in. I'm cursing and swearing, hollering out the F-bomb here and everywhere. And my mom, we're going in the church, and it was just raw, like, not sure normal behavior. Okay. And I was aware of what was happening, but it was like I was being embodied. So they were getting me there, and they got me up at the front of the church. And there were 3 people there that were doing the exorcism. And it was so intense, like the nastiness that was coming out of me, and the extreme foul mouth. And it was saying, if I'm going, I'm effing taking her with me. And then all of a sudden, my hand come up to my throat. And it was choking the life out of me. I know, it's like, I was, how the heck is this happening? And I could feel myself being choked. And it wasn't me. It was so intense. And there was a friend that was with us. So they're still, like, they continue on saying the words that they're supposed, like what they're supposed to be saying for an exorcism. And my hand is up here, and it's strangling me. My mom had both hands on my arm, and my friend had both hands on the same arm, and they were trying to haul my arm off. They couldn't. They kept saying, Tara, come on, we need you to fight. We need you to fight. Come on, Tara, don't give up. We need you to fight. They were pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling. And then all of a sudden it let go. And I started coughing, and they were at asking me what I had on my neck, because I had, like, I considered it like a good luck charm or something like that. But it was like, get it off, because it was more of a bone. So it was like, get it off. So get it off. Because the first time they did it, it pretended. And then all of a sudden it came back. So they had to go through it again a second time. And I was extremely, like, when this was done, I thought I was going to die. The same as in 2020. When I went through it again. I was in a fight for my soul. And I said that it was same thing. It was trying to tear me apart. Trying to use my own hand, because this part of my body was like, it was like this part of this side of my body was like, it was almost paralyzed. And it was trying to tear out my rib, dig in under, and it was like, it was trying to get at my heart and trying to strangle me. I even felt the motion of my head being like something trying to twist my head off, trying to gouge my eyes out. It was very, like somebody said, demonic. Yes, it was very. And all of a sudden, like I said in my video, all of a sudden, this hand come up. And I could feel it. Like, while this is happening, I could feel it happening, but it was like I was inside myself. And it's trying to rip me apart. It's like, where the F did you put her? Give her back. We're effing taking her with us. And then when this hand took over and the energy started, and it was like, it tapped into the whole left side of my body. And it was started, like, my energy was starting to manipulate the whole internal and the whole left side of my body. Like, I mean, it was taken and it was twisting the whole insides and cramping everything up and holding tight. Meanwhile, this attachment or what have you kept saying, "What are you effing doing trying to make us feel human pain? We're taking her with us." And I could feel my body at this point, because it was like I popped out and took over and used my God-given gifts to fight back. So I was doing that, and then all of a sudden I let go and I hollered, "God help me." And I told you that I hit like a flash of light come from the sky, and it was just like it wasn't a beam or anything. It was just like a light that hit me right between the lookers. And my body went into extremely violent vibrations. And that happened twice. First time for about 5 minutes. And I could feel my brain shaking inside. I didn't think I was going to make it out alive. And then the second time, well, I went catatonic, and it was like someone was taking my body, moving my body up around to the head of the bed, and then took my arms and placed me like that. I could literally smell what smelled like someone cooking ham. To this day, I don't eat ham. I don't eat pork. And I haven't for, well, basically since that happened. And then that's when I started getting into frequencies in healing. And in 2021, it started happening again before I got really in depth, because you're fighting for your soul a lot of the time. And I was going through really strange things. It was like epiphanies. And I ended up in 2021, I ended up going to the psychiatric unit because I felt like a freaking wild animal. Like, I'm serious. Like, I was like snarling and freaking, I was going after raw deer meat. So I called the hospital. I called the crisis line, and like, something's wrong here. So I went in, and that's when things started changing for me. I would hold a controller, a remote, and the remote would literally start sticking to my hand. It was like almost like an like I was being electrocuted, sort of. It was zapping my hand. It's like, get it off, get it off. And there was a gentleman in there, and he was telling me about experiences, saying like it doesn't seem like him. It's someone else. So what I ended up doing is I laid my hand on him, and I spoke in the light language. And then all of a sudden I heard, "You effing bitch." Not from the guy, but it was mentally, telepathically. And then later there was another young man in there. And he comes in, and he's like clicking a lot, making like clicking sounds and going like that. I knew what was going on at that point, and I said, like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I know what? I'm like you, and I put my hand up to him so he could feel the energy. And we felt it. He looked at me and he said, "There was a curse on you, but it's been lifted." So I ended up going home. After that, I ended up losing my disability because I was in the hospital, and I failed to make a phone call. And I was on disability because I was suffering from severe concussion, and it was causing a lot of mental health experiences for me. So I was getting better, and then I started going through it again in October of 2021. And I went in the hospital again, and I was experiencing things, and they got me in the room. Like, I was literally seeing things. It was like I was in the future. Because I was seeing people from my past, and I was recognizing them it was like they were in their 70s. I was like, whoa. And I know I was sitting with myself or someone else very close to me, and they were mute. They wouldn't talk either. They wouldn't talk. But when they took me in the room, the psychiatrist and the nurse or what have you, they took me in this room, sitting there, and they were talking, and then I was explaining things to them. I was showing them, like, because your body gets faster and faster, and then all of a sudden it was like, and when I was bringing it out, it was like it was almost like I was performing an exorcism on the whole ward. And when I was doing it, you could literally feel the room shaking and vibrating. And they're like that. And I had selenite crystals with me, and I was holding them. They're like, what are those? And I told them what they were for. Well, why do you need those? But it was kind of a trickery. I know now because I know what I was dealing with, because it's the aspect of you need medication. And when you try saying that frequencies and crystals and going, like, all the natural going within and stuff like that is actually healing. There's no money, man. There's no real money in that, because then you're able to heal yourself. That's what I did. But I have people on YouTube and things like that to thank for it, because somehow I ended up being connected to their YouTube videos. And it helped me to realize, like, okay, yeah. And then I do it. I got more crystals. I have crystals right there behind me in that little box. I have crystals here. I have rocks and crystals through my house in different areas as a feng shui, because it produces a wave of healing. And I have frequencies in the background. And that's mostly what I have on. Especially when I'm having a really exhausting, rough day, because there's so much energies and things coming in. And that's what's happening. And a lot of people, they're naysaying it because the medical community is saying, no, that's horse shit. Well, it's not horse shit. No, like, If that's horse shit, then pills are horse shit. Works both ways, right? So why is theirs more right than natural? Natural worked for our ancestors, only we were led to believe that it didn't. Right now, my lips are tingling, you guys. So, as you go through this, it's part of the ascension, and we're not aware of it. Like, we're getting short fused, very fatigued. We're not sleeping for the most part, or our sleep patterns are disrupted. We're being told that we have ADHD or we have bipolar because it's like, or personality disorders and what have you. Yeah, believe me, that's what it seems like. But once you know and understand what it is, and I'm not laughing at you, because I know what it was like when especially when people don't understand what you're going through. You're not crazy. And it's like the medical community and other people that are part of the medical community, like, am I wrong because I don't have PhD written in front of my name, or I don't have MD written in front of my name, because I'm going on experiences by living it and actually experiencing it for self and observing others in the same way and saying, like, okay. Because once you understand what's happening, then it's a lot easier to heal. Because what's happening when we keep repeating things, and that's because we're not dealing with it. And it took me, oh my gosh, pretty much my whole life up until 3 years, 3 years ago, basically, to start understanding what I was going through. So when you know what you're going through, it's more that, like, okay, if you don't understand and things are happening, we don't necessarily feel we're responsible for our actions. But once you know what you're going through and what you're experiencing, you become more responsible, because you are the one in control. You are the one that can stop it from happening. Not a pill, not going and sitting in front of a psychiatrist every week or something like that. Our mental health stressors, challenges, and disabilities, a lot of it comes from the fact that we're holding on to things and we keep repeating it because we don't face it head on. Sorry, I'm just... It's... Sometimes it's hard to explain. And when you try explaining it to someone, because of things that we've been programmed to believe, and people, like I said, people may take with this what they want. They may think I'm crazy and what have you, but I really don't care. Because, like I said, as long as I know the truth, that's what matters to me. If you don't want to have anything to do with me because you think I'm a lunatic or a spiritual wackadoo, well, that's entirely up to yourself. But wait until it starts happening to you, if it's not already happening to you. See, sometimes things keep happening and we keep getting ourselves into situations because we're being told that we got to deal with it, whatever it is. It's being put in our faces to deal with. And when we keep running away, we keep get thrown back into the same kind of situations until we stand up and say, hey, okay, enough is enough. Like, I kept running from my problems, but you can't run from them. You can't suppress them with medication because all you're doing is making them worse. And right now, a system don't like what I'm saying. Well, that's too bad for the system. Wasn't easy. And it's still not easy sometimes. I still go through things because there's still things that I'm working through. We're all in it together, whether we want to believe it or not. It's happening to us as a whole. And we're here to share our experiences, not to have people feeling sorry for us or going to people and say, hey, I need you to solve my problem for me. I can't solve your problem. And I can't really heal you. I can give you the tools to heal yourself, teach you how to use them, but I can't do the work for you. And God, the universe, works through each of us. I said before, God helps those who help themselves. And I had someone get really offended about that because I said it. And why I say that is because when you start helping yourself, you know that God is helping you. The universe, source, creator, because it's a part of you. And some may think that it's just one person. Maybe there was one aspect of an energy that created something. But in actuality, we're all creators. You write something down on paper. You're creating. Everything you do, everything we do, we're creating. And it can affect everyone as a whole. Because for every action has a reaction, and that's true. And sometimes it has a boomerang effect. What you put out, you can end up getting back. And when I first started hearing that, I was like, okay, whatever. Until I started experiencing it myself. Because it's the universe, creator, source, God, what have you, that's teaching. We're learning from each other. We're teaching one another. We're guiding one another. We're creating with one another. And when they say, like, manic depressive, there's a lot of that going on in the world right now with with almost everyone. Because we're up, we're down, we're up, we're down. You can go like this on a, like, and you keep repeating it until you go out and you see what you're supposed to be learning, what we're supposed to be getting out of the experience that we keep going through. It's like the epiphany. You get up the top and you look at it, oh, okay, I see, like, yeah. Oh, right, they skid. It's not easy. But as you start seeing it and start working through it and start seeing why you're having this experience over and over and over again, it can be your own manifestation of your own fears. And I know that sounds right out there. But sometimes it can be how you're feeling about yourself. Or how you feel yourself. Sometimes we want a way out. But the way out it's about going in here. Fighting that anger, standing up to it, fighting the fear, standing up to it, observing it, seeing it for what it is, and standing up. And we say enough is enough. I don't have to deal with this anymore. We can't. I know there was times that I just wanted to run to other people and wanted other people to rescue me. Just wanted to run. Till I got told, no, you can't be a runner. You got to face it head on because that's the only way that you're going to stop the vicious circle. Because it's history repeating itself. It may bring in different actors or actresses or what have you. But look at it and say, what can I do differently that I didn't do last time I was going through this? We can offer you the tools and teach you how to use them. And how to clear your own energies and move your own energies. Sometimes soaking in a hot bath with Epsom salts or bubble baths. Whether you're male or female, there's nothing wrong with pampering yourself. Having some quiet time for you so that you can sort through your shit. Because when we have kids, we tend to put it on them and say, well, when I was younger, or I know because I've done it and I've had it done to me. It's like, well, I'm not the one that did that. I'm not responsible for that. So why am I wearing it? It's like we have so many layers on us. And as you start taking off those layers, getting to the root of the problem, the very seed that made it grow, because it's your insecurities. It's your traumas that you experienced that puts those seeds in there. And when we keep dwelling on it and allowing it to take over and get the best of us, because it's an aspect of the ego. Because maybe it's the ego that's afraid to let go. Because when you go within, it can feel like you're losing control. But it's only because you're letting go. Like the one I'm up against right now. The universe kept putting me back and putting me back and putting me back because I'm the one that's going to deal with them. This person. Seems right out there. But we're actually, in the end, what we're doing is we're teaching each other something. Maybe it's we're being pushed around to make us stand up and say, hey, I don't deserve this crap. I don't deserve to be suffering all the time. Because in a lot of aspects, it is an illusion. Even though we see suffering, it's an illusion because we feel like we have to be experiencing it because we're told, well, that's life. No, life is not about suffering. Life is an experience and learning how to bring ourselves up from the depths of dismay, of despair. Sometimes it can even be self-loathing for one reason or another. Maybe it's self-loathing because of choices we made or didn't make. And then we put that onto others. So that's how I say mental health affects us all as a whole. whether we're the ones experiencing it or it's someone close to us that's experiencing it. Clearing the energies. If you feel negative energies or you feel pretty like you feel down in the dumps and it's like a heavy weight on your shoulder, put on 417 frequencies. Remove negative energies from yourself and your home. Remove dark energies from yourself and your home. There's many different frequencies for what you're feeling. There's anxiety frequencies, and it does work. Bird frequencies, water frequencies. I said before, if you can't get out in nature, because nature is actually your best friend, the sun is your best friend, but systems want to tell you, oh no, it's bad for you. No, it's all the toxins that are in your body that's causing the sun to burn you. Once you get that out of your system, you stop burning. I know. I stare at the sun all the time. I mean, I literally lock eyes. And I'm here, like when you start looking at the sun and you're not used to it, okay, yes, it's going to hurt your eyes. And you're going to get colorful circles. You're going to get that. So observe the sun in the morning when it's first coming up, in the evening when it's going down. Just gaze at it. Doesn't have to be for long periods of time. I had somebody even say about gazing at it, like I looked at a thing that I commented about and somebody else made a comment and they said even looking at the moon, I do that at night too. I just never really realized that I did it, but it's the gazing. It's the calmness of it all. And at first it can feel very agitating because you're not used to it. Like anything. Trial and error. And don't stop just because you had one effect from it. Keep going. Because the sun is actually healing. It's all the chemicals and stuff that we put on our body that makes us feel like it's the sun, and we're told the radiation from the sun. Back in ancient times, they were in the sun all the time and they didn't have these problems. And they didn't have all the chemicals either. Like I said, some may resonate with this and some may not. But it's a matter of figuring out why do we keep repeating the same thing? Are we keeping ourselves stuck in the past because we're not letting go of things? So it keeps happening over and over again, whether it's with the same person or with a different person. But like I said, and it is true, God helps those who help themselves. I had somebody that last year, when the night before I had my dog put down, I had somebody, they were calling me an effing cow and everything like that. And they were screaming at me and being a real asshole. And they jumped up and they come charging at me. Well, when they charged at me, I just spread my arms and I said, "Come on." And they flew back and dropped to the ground. And they screamed, and then they ran to the bathroom. And they hollered out, "God, get her the fuck away from me." And I hollered out, "God will get me away from you when you learn how to treat people." And then I had an experience where they said, because I was throwing their own shit back at them, of how they talk to people, how they treat people. It's like, hey, have a gander. Think about how, when it was happening to you, how did you really like it happening to you? So why the frig are you doing that to other people? So it was like a match. It's not about winning or losing. In a lot of aspects, it's about getting the message across. And this person kept telling me, "Oh, if it was another man, they'd friggin' punch you and all this stuff. And if you were a man, I would punch you." It's like, what's stopping you? So this one day, when they said it, I looked right at them, and I said at the person, and I said, "Well, you know what? If I was a man, I'd fucking drive you through the wall. I'd throw you through the wall for the way you treat people, treat women." And I don't condone fighting, but I do condone standing up for yourself. And it doesn't have to be in a violent manner. Use your voice, because your voice is extremely powerful when you allow it to be. Because you can bring out the wrath of God. Because God is within you. Sometimes it's a matter when somebody's being an asshole, just look at them and say, "Why are you such an asshole right now?" And sometimes I would say to some, like, if you want to fight, shove your head up your arse and fight for air. But the way you're going to beat mental health is standing up to yourself, going within yourself, and allowing yourself to heal and let go. Know that you lived through it, and you don't have to hold on to it. It's only a system that keeps reminding you of it. And that's why we keep going into the same situations, whether we're aware of it or not. It's because we're sending off that energy. We're sending off that frequency. We're sending off that damsel in distress, or whether we're male or female. We're sending off that vibration that says, "Oh, I can't do it on my own." Well, I'm here to tell you, yeah, you can. We may be in financial turmoil in some aspects. But a lot of it has to do with the way we're feeling. It's keeping us stuck and unable to go forward because it's not the aspect of it makes me who I am. It's a matter of looking at that phrase. It makes me who I am. And how are you? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Because all this is what's making us ill. Because they keep telling us that we need a pill to get over it, and we don't. We need self-care and self-understanding. That we are allowed to let things go and we don't have to hold on to them because somebody says we do or keeps reminding us. And sometimes we keep reminding ourselves, and we don't have to. Meditate, get out in nature, be with yourself. And if you think that you don't have a moment for yourself, yes, you do. And if you feel you don't, take that moment, tell everybody else, you need to be on hold. I'm taking time for me. And if they don't like it, then they can lump it or they can learn something from you by you making the changes to yourself and saying, hey, go away for a while. Come back when you're not being such a butthole. Donkey butt. An ass. I always said that I wasn't a wolf and I wasn't a sheep, that it was a donkey. So yeah, I'm an ass. I'm stubborn, but I will carry you to safety. But once you start taking advantage of me, I'm going to frickin' buck you right off. And it works male or female. Just make sure you don't push away the wrong people, the people that are actually there to show you the way to healing. Tisiro de esre todai mugoi. Mishkalesu puruye. Ikapututaria satotoyena. Isure krai. Tishkalesu kuriatoriai. Isueka ai sukoya sequoia 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 soture. Kitutolea namarigana. Ishlea sukoya toai. Equala toleata. Sipitutium. PQAI is CSASA, CQ2AI. Face it head on. Because I know you can. And I know you can heal. I know you can have the good things in life that you truly want to experience. Because I do see what's coming. And you will too once you start healing. Because you'll start seeing the good things that are out there, that are happening. you will push the illusion away. Feel through with your heart. Be centered. Because we are both. Do that in the mirror. And you will see the male and you will see the female part of you. The feminine, masculine. Mother, father. And you are the daughter and son. I know you can do it. Because we've already been through all this before as a practice run. Some may believe me, some may not. And that's totally fine. Queen. I just drew a card. And that's what I brought up. Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. Standing your ground. Never giving up on yourself. And don't give up on others. Because they're on their journey and they're experiencing things for themselves in the way that they choose. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope this has helped to understand more so of what you're going through. You may be hearing things, and that's part of the process. You're not going crazy. You are actually hearing the different stuff. And once you are aware and know that that's what you're experiencing, just observe and just let it go. Don't focus on it. Just see and realize, okay, oh crap, my foot went to sleep. So with that being said, if you made it all the way to the end, or you're just coming in, or you got halfway and said, enough for me, I appreciate you either way. So I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings. Most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting, willing, and ready to receive and accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave. Most importantly, be yourself, not who somebody else says you have to be or that you are. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Never give up and keep going. And always remember, you are stronger. I love you all, and I hope you all had a great day, and that you all have an awesome Monday. Love you.